How often do we find ourselves stuck in the cycle of self-doubt, fear, or procrastination, only to realize that these struggles may not just be our own, but rather the subtle influence of external forces like Shaitan that whisper in our minds, preventing us from reaching our full potential and growing toward a better version of ourselves? Personal growth is the continuous journey of improving oneself emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, and physically. It's about striving to be better, whether in how we think, act, or interact with others. However, this journey is rarely smooth. Many face obstacles that can seem insurmountable. Feelings of inadequacy, the weight of past failures, fear of change, and the struggle to stay disciplined. One of the most significant challenges to personal growth is the negative influences that often arise, both from within and from external sources. Internally, we may be plagued by self-doubt or an inner critic that tells us we're not good enough or that success is out of reach. But there are also external forces that can hinder our progress. One such force is the influence of Shaitan, who subtly sows seeds of negativity, discouragement, and misguidance, pushing us away from our true potential. He thrives on our weaknesses, whether it's impatience, pride, or vulnerability to temptation, and distracts us from the path of growth by feeding us lies about our worth or capabilities. These negative influences can make personal growth feel like an uphill battle. Yet, it's essential to recognize them for what they are, distractions that stand in the way of our true progress. By becoming aware of these influences, we can learn to counteract them and take deliberate steps toward achieving the growth we desire. Shaitan's grip on our personal growth often manifests in subtle, insidious ways that we may not always recognize immediately. Three of the most common ways his influence takes hold are through self-doubt, procrastination, and fear. These emotions and behaviors can paralyze us, making it difficult to pursue the goals we set for ourselves and ultimately preventing us from reaching our true potential. Self-doubt, the whisper of insecurity. One of the most powerful tools Shaitan uses is self-doubt. This isn't just the occasional question about our abilities. It's the constant whispering in our minds that we are not good enough, that we will fail, or that our dreams are too far out of reach. When we doubt ourselves, we lose confidence in our ability to succeed, and we might give up before we even try. This lack of self-belief can trap us in a cycle of inactivity, where we are paralyzed by fear of failure rather than motivated to take action. Shaitan knows that if he can make us question our worth, he can weaken our resolve. This is why it's so important to recognize that self-doubt is not a reflection of our true abilities but rather an external force trying to hinder our progress. By seeking reassurance from our faith, focusing on our strengths, and understanding that failure is a natural part of growth, we can begin to break free from Shaitan's grip. Procrastination, the delay of dreams. Another common manifestation of Shaitan's influence is procrastination. This is more than just putting things off. It's the deliberate avoidance of the hard work needed to achieve our goals. Shaitan often tempts us to believe that we have more time than we do, leading us to delay tasks until the urgency of the moment overwhelms us. The longer we procrastinate, the more we feed into the cycle of inaction, guilt, and regret. Procrastination also arises when we convince ourselves that we need to wait for the perfect moment or for our circumstances to be ideal before starting. But the truth is, there is rarely a perfect time to begin. Shaitan often plants the idea that we are not ready or that we need to wait until everything is just right, leading us to miss opportunities and avoid taking the first step toward our goals. Overcoming procrastination requires self-discipline, planning, and the realization that the act of beginning is more important than waiting for the ideal conditions. Fear, the barrier to taking risks. Fear is perhaps the most paralyzing influence of all. Shaitan exploits our fear of failure, rejection, or the unknown to prevent us from taking risks and stepping outside our comfort zones. Fear can prevent us from even attempting new things, leaving us stuck in a state of stagnation. The fear of not succeeding or making mistakes can create a mental block that stops us from trying altogether. Shaitan often magnifies these fears, making them seem insurmountable or more dangerous than they truly are. This fear, whether it's the fear of failure, of judgment, or of not being able to meet expectations, keeps us from pursuing our goals, even when the potential rewards are great. To overcome fear, we need to remember that courage isn't the absence of fear, but the willingness to act despite it. Trusting in God's plan for us, believing that He will support us through the challenges, and understanding that growth comes from overcoming fear, can help us move past this obstacle. Shaitan's influence is powerful, but by recognizing these manifestations, self-doubt, procrastination, and fear, we can begin to take proactive steps to combat them. Remember, the path to personal growth requires persistence, and the first step in overcoming these obstacles is awareness. Once we recognize these negative forces, we can counteract them with faith, patience, and action, gradually freeing ourselves from their grip and moving forward toward the life we envision. Shaitan's influence is not always dramatic or overt. More often, it manifests in subtle everyday ways that can slowly derail our personal growth and aspiration. These small, seemingly insignificant moments can compound over time, creating barriers between us and the progress we seek. Let's explore how Shaitan's whispers infiltrate daily life. Using relatable examples and anecdotes. The struggle with self-perception. You're not enough. Imagine you're about to start a new project, whether it's pursuing a career goal, working on personal development, or even engaging in a new hobby. At the beginning, everything seems possible, but then doubt creeps in. Shaitan whispers, "You're not good enough for this. You don't have the skills. Others are more capable than you." For instance, you might be starting a new fitness routine with the goal of getting healthier. As you look at your progress or compare yourself to others in the gym, Shaitan tries to convince you that you're too weak, or that you'll never achieve the level of fitness you desire. This makes you question your ability to improve and pushes you to give up prematurely. This is an example of how Shaitan works to undermine our self-perception, sowing seeds of insecurity that prevent us from even trying. He wants us to feel inadequate and unworthy of success, thus sabotaging our efforts before they even begin. Breaking free from the negative influences that hinder our growth, whether from Shaitan or our own doubts and fears, requires a combination of self-awareness, disciplined action, and spiritual resilience. By adopting specific strategies, we can effectively counteract these influences and empower ourselves to take actionable steps toward personal growth. Here are some pivotal strategies and insights. 1. Strengthen your faith and connection to God. The foundation of overcoming negative influences lies in a deep, unwavering connection to God. When we trust in God's plan for us, we cultivate a sense of peace and confidence that counters the whispers of doubt and fear. Regular prayer and reflection. Establish a consistent routine of daily prayers, salah, and remembrance of God. Dhikr prayer centers the mind and heart, helping us combat anxiety and distractions. Seek God's help in times of struggle. When you feel overwhelmed by self-doubt, fear, or procrastination, turn to God for strength. Ask for guidance and the ability to push past these obstacles, remembering that you are never alone in your struggles. Positive affirmations from Scripture. Remind yourself of the Quranic verses that inspire resilience, such as, "Indeed, with hardship will be ease," Quran 94:6. These reminders help restore faith in the process of growth. I'd love to hear from you. What are some of the challenges you faced in your personal growth journey? Have you ever experienced the influence of self-doubt, procrastination, or fear holding you back? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Let's start a conversation and support each other as we continue to grow. If you found this video helpful, I recommend checking out our next video, where we dive deeper into practical strategies for maintaining consistency in your personal growth journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss out on future content designed to help you thrive. Let's continue growing together.